Now we'll move on to Juneteenth versus Independence Day. Mr. Pinkston, can you kind of tell us the significance of both Juneteenth and Independence Day? Should we keep both? Why or why not?
Juneteenth is important to all Black people, but significantly to Texas. The Emancipation Proclamation freed slaves in the states that came back to the Union. Texas was one of those states, but those slaves were not free. And story goes, a couple of stories go, one of the messengers who was on the way to Texas was killed before they could get there. Another story goes, plantation owners knew that their slaves should have been freed, but they didn't tell the slaves because, of course, this is giving up free labor. So they in Texas found out 2 years later, June 19th, 1865. And later that year, I guess I can go there now, December 6th, 1865, is when the rest of the slaves were freed by federal law. So Juneteenth, that's the Black Independence Day, if you will. Now, the American Independence Day, some about 100 years later, I mean earlier, that was freedom from British control. That's not per se celebrating Black independence or Native American independence, because we were all still being treated poorly. This is just a shift of power from Britain to America. If you want to celebrate, more power to you. Throw some meat on the grill, get a little darker in the sun. But I do believe our Independence Day is truly June 19th or December 6th. When we celebrate Independence Day, American Independence Day, we must recognize, what I stated earlier. This was not independence for all people. So we must continue to recognize throughout the year, the milestones for other people in this country. Whether it be Native American Heritage Month, Black American Heritage Month, which we are in right now, even for Mexicans, Asians, all immigrants alike.
When you think of Independence Day, you think of a group of people being free. So when we think of the American Independence Day that we celebrate on July 4th, it's important to understand that this wasn't freedom for a people, but it was freedom for a country. However, it was still freedom for whites, but not Blacks. So that's why it shouldn't be considered, many will argue it shouldn't be considered Independence Day, because all of the people in the United States weren't free from Great Britain. The whole point of Independence Day was for the United States, the country, the United States, to be free from the landmass Great Britain, all of the countries that make up Great Britain. So that's why Blacks always argue that this is not true independence, that Juneteenth is true independence, because this allowed the people and not a particular country to be free. A country doesn't dictate the people. The country can be free, but if the people aren't free, then you don't live in a free country.